What is going on, guys? This is the Maafia garage here, back at again in the garage. And today we're going to be working on the Toyota Sera. And what we're going to be doing today is replacing the rear hatch struts. Mine are completely blown. Alright, so if we just lift this up right here, it's pretty difficult to lift up. And you can see it's not going to want to hold. So now I'm going to have to hold it with my head and use some pliers to hold this in place. It's pretty difficult to do with one hand, but there we go. So that's going to be held in place. So in order to do this job, this has to be unscrewed. And you have to hold this in place on top of here. I'll show how to do all this. And this gets unscrewed. And I'm going to show how to remove the interior trim pieces because the rear hatch struts, they're underneath all this trim piecing right here to unbolt them. I believe they're two 10mm bolts under here. I haven't done it. I've seen a write-up online on how to do it. And I haven't seen any videos on YouTube, so I just thought it would be beneficial to make a video on this. So a whole bunch of interior trim pieces had to come out, like the rear seats, the rear deck lid, which is pretty simple, and all these trim pieces back here, which uncover it, even on the side right there. We have to remove that. And it's going to be... It should be a straightforward job. I mean, I did remove a lot of the interior when I did first buy this car to clean out the car, but I never really removed a lot of this trim pieces right here. So that's going to be pretty new for me, but I will be taking you guys along the way for me learning about this stuff, and we'll see what happens along the way. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. I got new lighting. I got this from Harbor Freight for 20 bucks, so it lights up the whole entire garage. A bit more than that little light bulb that I have. But anyways, so this is my process so far. As you can see down here, I removed this front panel. I removed the cover on the bottom right here that covers up the spare tire, and they're all sitting over there. I removed one of the top seats, and I'm about to do the other one. And I will do the bottom ones, but I just wanted to show you guys exactly what I did so far. So this cover is held on by 4 of these type of snap-in retainers. So these, I use a screwdriver, I use a flathead, and I pried it up on one side, and I used another flathead, and I pried it up on the other side, and then it came up. Now what you could do, instead of using a screwdriver, and I do have this tool, I just wanted to show you guys both methods because I remembered I had this tool. I use this. So this is a trim removal tool, and I just pried it right under and then I snapped it up after I used the screwdrivers, but you can use both ways, but this is much easier. Alright, so that was removed, and now this rear right here is sitting over here. And you guys can see on the rear of it has all these snap-in tabs. So they all snap in. There's nothing. This one was already like that. I need to fix that and bend it back straight. But everything just snaps right in. So what I did was, while this was in here, I removed this window sealer trim right here. I pulled it back and it gave me some room to put my hand in there. As I put my hand in here, I put my right hand right here, and there's like a little, so you can put your fingers right there, and I was pulling both ways so that way it won't break anything. And I was pulling, and as I was snapping out, I did the top first, and then I was going to the bottom, and then as I was pulling it with the outside. So use both hands to pull it out. It won't break or anything, but just it's best to have 2 hands to pull it out instead of just one, just yanking it. You could possibly break something, but use both hands to remove it, and it just pulls right up and right out like that. Alright, so put this over here. All right, so for the top portion of the seat, there is a 10 millimeter bolt right there, and there's a 12 millimeter bolt. So a 10 and then a 12. I don't know if there was another 10 right there. I didn't see any for my seats, but if there is, I'm sorry, because there's a lot of bolts and nuts that are not that weren't even on here in the first place. So, but that's the gist of it. So that's a 10 mil, that's a 12, and then this you have to bring it back up, and then it will unhook from these. These are just, they have to be sitting up straight, and then the seat will come out, because this is basically not going to come out with the bracket sitting up like that. And then for the rear seats, you have to unbolt this. This is a 10 millimeter. This is basically like an anchor for the rear seat. And then these rear seats, you just go right under them and you pull them right up. As you pull them right up, it will come out once you remove this. If you don't remove this, then this will happen. This basically just ripped off from there. I didn't do this. It was like that. But yeah, it like basically ripped off of the whole cushion, which is not a bad thing. It can still be snapped in, but it's just an extra anchor right there. So that's the update. And then as I continue to progress more forward, then I'll record some more. Alright guys, so this is my update so far. I removed the rear seats, I pulled them up, and then took them outside of the car. And then as you can see, I removed this side of the interior trim. And from this, there was a couple bolts that were kind of hidden down here. And I'll show you guys with this panel on this side. So what I initially started off with was I removed that screw right there. It's a Phillips head. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a Phillips head. Let's bring this camera down. So it's a Phillips head. And then from here, there was a cap covering this section right here. So this cap just snaps right in. But I just used a flat head and I popped it out. And what was under the cap was a 10 millimeter bolt, and I removed that. And then from here, you just have to remove that with a flathead or a trim removal tool. And then right down here, there's going to be a 10 millimeter bolt that's holding that on, and another 10 millimeter bolt that's holding that side on. And then from here, there's supposed to be a screw that's holding this on, but my car never came with the screw. And then everything should be unbolted from there. And then you have to just pull up the trim piece right here, which is the rubber trim. Once you remove that, you can then pry up on this with your fingers. And there's going to be a little tab right there. And this tab, I'm going to show you guys on this one. It's from this piece right here. So this gets inserted in there. All you gotta do is just pry up and pull up on it. So it just snaps right in, but then you just gotta pry up on it. Once you pry up on that, the whole thing should just come forward. But don't just yank on it just yet. You have to clear this little bracket right here for the seats. You have to pry it up and then move it over to the side and then pull out. And as you do that, then the whole thing should just come out like that. So that's the next step. And then I'm going to try to remove that portion right there for the rear hatch struts. And then it should locate the two bolts that are holding it in place. Okay, so next update. There was a Phillips head screw right there. And I just removed that. And like I said, with my car, there's some screws that are missing and some bolts that are missing. So I believe that there's two bottom bolts right there on the panels, 1 and 2. But my car never really came with it. So once I removed this, the whole thing came loose. And all I did was pry it out, and it was unclipping from all these tabs that are on there. So 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of them just came apart. They all unclipped from the chassis of the car, the wall. And once that was apart, here's Here comes Johnny. No, I'm just joking. Here comes the two bolts right here. And I believe that they're 12 mils. Yep, they're both 12 mils. So once you remove them, this should just come out. And then this should unbolt too. So that would have to be held on by something. And I believe this is a 12 millimeter nut that's held in place. And if yours is messed up, there's something on eBay. There's some guys selling replacements of these because these are known to like perish. You can see mine is slowly starting to go. I didn't order them. They are $60. I'm just going to see if I can save this one. But if I do save it, I'll show you guys how I did it. But so far, I'm trying to stick some pliers onto here to hold it down, but it's pretty difficult. But I'll see what I can do. But first, I'm going to unbolt them and then swap over the new one. The new ones I got from Alibaba. I'm going to put a description in the link. I'm going to put a link in the description below so you guys can get replacement struts for your Sera. I believe they were $30 with free shipping, so that's not a bad deal. So that's that. And then when I replace this, I'll show you guys what I did. Alright guys, this is a side-by-side comparison of the old on the right and the new on the left. You see it's directly, it's exactly the same. So this is a little encasing right here. This will have to be swapped over to the new one. It just snaps right in. You can see. Snaps right in. It's like a little casing. See? It snaps right in. And then you'll have to swap over this little washer. And then this big washer goes right on top. And then it's just reverse. I suggest putting blue thread locker also on here because this looks like it had blue thread locker. And then it should just bolt right on. Now this was a 12 millimeter. And how I removed it, as you can see right here, it was sitting like that. And I just grabbed the big pair of pliers, like vice grips. It would not clamp, but I was trying to hold it down as hard as possible. And I was using some force against this, but I was very careful because you don't want to slip and hit the glass. But I was clamping it down as hard as I could while loosening it. And eventually it broke free. And then it was easier to hold this down because there wasn't that much tension on it. Because it does have blue thread locker. So that was the only thing. Like I said, my gasket is perished. But it looks like it won't leak. But if you guys do need new ones, there's some on eBay that I will post up on the description below. I'll put a link. But yeah, that was the removal. I'm going to install it and then put everything back together. And then we'll see the aftermath. It's the same process for the right side. It's just the left side. I just did it just to get it out of the way. Alright guys, so moment of truth for the Sera. See on the rear. Dang. Took a while, but it was well worth it because I hated holding it up with my head and then putting like some sort of pliers to hold it in place. I might need to get the kit because it's not seated properly because it's just like the gasket got ripped off because I was trying to clamp it down with the pliers. So I'm gonna have to order that $60 kit, which I don't really want to do, but I hope it doesn't leak on me. This one's really good. Not really good, but it's much better than that side. But it does hold, it does work. I just need to probably redo the top caps because it's just the bushings just they're perished, so they got messed up. But other than that, that's the video. Sorry if it's kind of long. Like I always say, I'm sorry it's kind of long, but I just try to put it in detail. But I hope you guys enjoy this one, and I hope it helped you. I hope you guys take it easy.